Welcome to the number one Bengals podcast. I'm your host, Dadio Maktouk. As always, I'm joined by Dr. Hodgie, the Electric Ismoji, and John Sheeran. Yeah, and we are going to talk about the Bengals rookie camp and maybe a little bit about the voluntary camp as well. So you have the rookie camp. We have a lot of rookies we're really looking to play important roles, right, John? I mean, obviously Jamar Chase, the number 5 overall pick, but Jackson Carman, we're hoping he's going to start somewhere on the offensive line. And maybe even Joseph Asai. We were seeing some, he looked impressive. He was like knocking down blow up castles or something, I think, in the clip. John, did you see that? He was just
blow up castles?
Like towers, like these towers, the towers that they have in those, kindergarten classes or whatever. No, he was knocking stuff down, like big bubbly stuff. With a lot of confidence. Yeah. And so then Jackson Carman. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Jackson Carman. They are saying he is a big dude. That is the report that's coming out. He is a big dude, and that is coming from Joseph Osai, who is so big he just knocks down castles. And he can move. We saw he looked explosive, and he's playing at right guard, which is very nice.
Yeah.
And then we had Wyatt Hubert, who was like pushing the jet ski, right, John? He was pushing that very hard, without using water. Which I just looked at the clips. Yeah, it was something like that, it was some sort of vehicle that he was pushing, but it wasn't on water. I'm just see, because I don't know this stuff. I'm trying to figure out why it was impressive. So maybe John, you can tell us.
They're just tackling dummies. So the sleds. Okay. They just run into them. They punch them. They touch them, and they're done. They do that for 90 minutes. Then they go to the locker room.
Well, it's obvious to you, John.
The Steelers use robots.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious to you, John, but you don't have to call us dummies. But I get it. It's obvious. Okay, you know all this stuff. Yeah. All right. So, John.
So speaking of right guard, can I bring up one quick question, because I can't stay the whole time, about the right tackle to John Sheeran? Something I've been meaning to ask him.
Yeah.
Morgan Moses. What's the chances he comes to the Bengals? I know it's off topic.
No, it's kind of topical though. Morgan Moses was released by the Washington football team. Yeah. They were hoping to trade him for some type of draft pick. That wasn't going to happen. The Bengals don't normally do that. And they found that no one else wanted to trade for him. Thing here is they have Riley Reif to play right tackle, right? And the only way that they would trade for Morgan Moses is if Moses doesn't have any other suitor who wants to have him start. No questions about it at right tackle. He would have to come in and potentially either compete at right tackle, or the Bengals just see him as a clear upgrade over Riley Reif. They move Riley Reif to probably left guard in that scenario. But the question is, are they too committed to their current plan? Without that current plan, the Reif with the veterans at left guard, Jackson Carman at right guard, nothing has gone wrong with them. Like there's no injuries or something that is forcing them to adjust that current plan. It would only be if they view Morgan Moses as this surefire, clear upgrade over the guy that they just signed 2 months ago. So unless that's the case, I don't foresee Morgan Moses coming to Cincinnati.
Unlikely. Now, but here's the question. Is it a big shift for Reif to go from right to left?
He's going from left to right.
He's already going from left to right.
Right. So he's been a left tackle for however many years.
So I'm saying they'd be putting him back where he belongs if they get Morgan Moses.
More or less. Like he played guard, I think, in college. He played at Iowa about 10 or so years ago, but he mostly played tackle, and then he's been a tackle for his entire NFL career. So him transitioning to guard would be him playing a position that he hasn't played before or hasn't played since, a few years in college, I think. So it would be a transition, and it would be going against the original plan that they had, which again would only indicate that if they're willing to do that, then they must think really highly of Morgan Moses. And if they really think that highly of Morgan Moses, you have to wonder why they weren't even interested in trading for him. So it's very, like you said, unlikely at this point.
Yeah, but thank you.
Yeah, and I think someone brought up on Twitter the idea that, look, if they move Riley Reif and he's not happy with it, it makes it even harder to get free agents to come to the Bengals. It's already hard enough to find free agents, who actually bring value. So yeah, that is a problem.
And they also cut Geron Christian or Giron Christian. I don't know if that matters.
No, because John didn't even know about it. So
I'm sure he knew about it. I mean, I think he's just not as big of a deal.
Then why is he looking it up? He's looking it up right now.
Okay. I'm not. My hands are free.
No, he's not. He's looking.
So he doesn't. So John
good.
confirms
he's not good.
He's not good. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So look, Jesse Bates is leading the voluntary camp, right? Which is very, very nice. Jesse Bates, obviously the leader of that defense. He's the star of that defense. And so, I mean, that is good that they're volunteering their time. Mike Brown is happy about that. I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying volunteer work is good. Actually, speaking of Mike Brown, let me just say real quick. I love this quote from him. He basically says about the Ring of Honor that he did it because people wanted it and his granddaughter told them to do it. And so he's going to do it. But he says, I might have had thoughts about why it might wait for later. Right. And that really touched me because Mike Brown is still, we forget he's only 86 years old. So,
yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, so I mean,
he's really got a long life ahead of him.
You have to think, what was the rush, but I love the fact that
if he lives to be in the 160s, this is middle age for him.
Yeah, this is just, it's too early. Yeah. But I'm fine with the Ring of Honor, but I just love this quote. But yeah, so John, we're going to move on before the
team. Well, you mentioned Jesse Bates. Because I think I'm really here to bring the fans' perspective.
Yeah.
And I think there's one thing that interests me about the way the Bengals defense is moving is I think there's it sounds like there's going to be this emphasis on interceptions. And I love interceptions. I just do. I love when your team gets an interception. Now, I know that almost goes without saying. Everybody loves interceptions. But I really love interceptions. And if we're going to have Jesse Bates and we're going to have like all these fast-moving guys in the secondary and it's going to be an interception-focused defense, kudos to Lou, kudos to the Bengals. I just want to say that. And that's all I need to say.
No, I'm so happy that you said that. So here's what we're going to do at this point. We're going to let John think of things to say. Yeah.
Think of some things.
Anything?
Yeah, here's a question.
Yeah, about the Bengals, yeah.
I mean, since no one else has anything, I got something. So let's talk about Joe Burrow. Because there's been some speculation as to how great he is and how recovered he is. And at this point, it's just speculation. But my sense is that all the signs are pretty positive. He's been throwing the balls around. I mean, do we have any sense that things are looking good and he's going to be able to play that first game?
Yeah. Well, we just heard that he will from his doctor, right, John?
Okay, and that matters, right? When the doctor says it, it's important.
Yeah.
The doctor said that he's, quote unquote, all systems go for week one.
Yeah,
for week one.
I think some people have misconstrued what that really meant, and they went away saying that he's 100% good to go right now. He's not. He's officially ahead of pace for where they expected him to be. Yeah. However many months ago when he had his surgery. So if there's any doubt that he's going to be that he wasn't going to be on the field come September, I think those doubts are officially erased. At this point, it's just whether or not they want to give him some reps, in the preseason. No. I wouldn't bet on it in this case.
No reps.
But that's now in the realm of possibilities compared to his recovery schedule.
Well, but Dadio, if they give him no reps in the preseason, he comes into the season cold. He is a human being. You want to give him some reps.
I'll tell you, no. Look. You don't need the reps with the hitting and the crunching and all that. He can just throw the ball to Jamar Chase in his backyard and he'll be fine.
No.
I mean, right, John?
He can just understand as a QB, it's really hard to come into the game. Listen, I was a QB coach. For a QB,
okay, here we go again.
It's really hard to come into the game cold. That's really hard.
You were an online QB coach.
Online.
Yeah. And it was a high school team that actually forfeited the season. Right.
That was my recommendation. for safety.
Yeah. So look,
There was,
John,
as you say, a lot of crunching.
Yeah, John. Look, here's the thing, John. So, have you heard of Barry Sanders? He was before your time. So Barry Sanders, John,
Yes, man.
he never played in the preseason because why? Why would you put Barry Sanders on the field, right? Or like Adrian Peterson too, I think, right? Like, why would you when someone is such a virtuoso?
It's different.
You know what I mean?
It's different
John,
for the QB. The QB
like
needs
the
to
last
see the working parts. See, the thing is, he's got to see the game in play with these new working parts. He's the head of the machine. Now, if you don't give him a chance to try out the machine in the preseason, even just for a few reps, he's going to come in cold. Now, that might mean one bad game, but when you only have 17, that's 1 out of 17. That's a lot. We got to win every game or try to.
Last year, he did not play in the preseason because there was no preseason. And the worry was how quickly...
Hodgie didn't know that.
No. The worry was how quickly was he going to be acclimated in the offense, right? I don't think that necessarily is a worry. It's not whether about he can connect with his receivers because all three of them are known commodities with him. They've all played at least one season with him. I don't think the chemistry side is going to be an issue because they are going to have those practice reps. I think what people are concerned about is that if he just goes into week 1 without playing at all and not getting accustomed to facing the pressure and feeling it like that, that might take some time before he's really himself again. Because we can talk about his bravado and his confidence and his swagger all we want, but until he faces those similar situations again, there's going to be some type of adaptation period that comes with it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're going to be that first game. That first game is at home against the Vikings. And I feel like the Vikings, in a way, we don't play them often, but they're an old friend. There's a lot of former Bengals there. They have our number. They know us. They know us very well. So I think it'd be nice to start off on the right foot and have Mr. Joe Burrow really ready for that game. That's my 2 cents. Hodgie out.
No, I say Joe Burrow, you save him, you use him wisely. I don't even know if you play him in a game if there's a lot of crunching going on, as we discussed earlier. Maybe if there's too much crunching, you just take him. I want Burrow to be available, and I think you got to monitor that knee a little bit.
Right.
You want
Burrow to be like those. You want Burrow to be like that Jeff Blake doll that you kept in a box for 20 years and never opened and played with. You played with all your other dolls. You didn't play with the Jeff Blake doll. And then you finally gave it away.
I had to for the show to get, to update the show. Yeah, I had to do it. It was very painful.
It was.
And then, I saw it on eBay a little bit later for $3.43. I was very upset when I saw that. But, okay, John, let's move on. We talked about Joe Burrow. What else do you want to talk about, John?
I want to talk about how you didn't buy back the doll. Like, is $343 like too expensive to on the resale value? It went back up in overall price, or is it just a value type of situation?
Well, John, honestly, it was $343, but with the shipping, it came out to like $7.
Oh, I hate when that happens. The shipping's more than the actual product.
Yeah, exactly.
It's criminal.
Dadio doesn't pay for shipping or parking. Sometimes I have literally seen him put his car in neutral and just leave it there. And the car just floats around.
Because that's actually a very valuable thing to know. If it's in neutral, it's technically not parked. They cannot fine you. They can't give you a ticket.
Cars bump it, it moves. They're like, is there someone in there? Is there not?
You never parked on a hill before, right?
Well, he does. I mean, he jumps.
It's free parking. Usually hills are free parking. Yeah.
You know, John, Dadio's car. First of all, Dadio cannot drive legally.
That makes sense. He can't read, so
his eyesight, and also he can't read. He never passed.
This is how you know. This is how you know in the dog days of the off season. This is how you know we have nothing to talk about. His car is really. I mean, market value for his car is $300-$400. It's like, what is it? Like a 1981 Volvo. It's all covered in cobwebs. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not. He doesn't care what it bangs around and stuff. He's lucky that it still runs.
Yeah, I'm completely happy with my car, and it gets the job done. And just like the Bengals offensive line, we can maybe, John, we can
transition back.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to go. I am having a mushroom oil massage therapy session, and I just heard my doorbell ring, meaning that I'm ready to go. I'm pumped. Have a great Friday, everyone. Who day, as they say. Bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah, John. So we can end it here unless you have anything else to talk about.
I think that last point, I'll just touch on it if you allow me to.
Okay.
Because there is some sort of a discourse restarting back up with the news of Joe Burrow coming back. It's been about, okay, everyone's confident that Burrow is going to be fine whenever he's healthy. It's just a matter of, is that offensive line going to get the job done, which is what you said. And I think that is really kind of their goal. And it's like the message, like, it's not about being perfect. It's not about having this stout offensive line that was in everybody's dreams. It's not necessary in order for Burrow to get what he needs to do, right? It's never been that. It wasn't that at LSU. It certainly wasn't that last year. And we saw resemblance of success in the offense last season. It's just about not being the worst. It's just getting the job done. It's just putting the right pieces there in order to just get a salvageable product. And that plan in itself is not going to receive resounding support or receive any type of benefit of the doubt. And that's fair. And that's why we're seeing, the same type of arguments pop up. So until that plan comes to fruition and we can see the fruits of that labor, it's going to be scrutinized. But I think that is the plan. I think they are confident that it's going to work about as well as they expect it to. And that should be enough with everything else that they have on offense.
Yeah, but John, okay, I appreciate that. And that's a good point. And I do think the offensive line can get the job done, pass protecting. But you know better than I do, John. If you don't have a pretty good, above average offensive line, your running game, unless you're very creative, like unless they want to turn Joe Mixon into, he's going to be receiving a lot. They're going to be, like I said, trying to catch people off guard when they run, but they're not going to be able to run it down people's throats with this offensive line. You agree with that?
Sure, but that's never been what the offense should be with Joe Burrow at the helm.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying, when you give a guy like Joe Mixon and with his ability, that kind of, it's not just the money, but I mean, I think they maybe thought they could make a good running game, but I think it could still be effective. I just don't think the numbers would pop out at you maybe, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the rookie running back, they're saying he looks good, and they're going to use him as a receiver, which is the trend of the summer, right, John? Every rookie running back is drafted, they're like, no, he's a receiver, so that people don't criticize them, so people don't say, why did you take a running back? But at least the Bengals took theirs in like the 8th or 9th round. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, so they say, right, Zach Taylor said he's going to use him as a receiver. So I think they are moving to just a very, very pass happy. Like, you look at the numbers when Joe Burrow was healthy, they were throwing how many times a game, John? Like 40 something times.
Right. And that's mainly because they were losing a lot in those games, and they had to throw to catch up, because you throw to score the ball, or you throw to score points. Ideally, you don't want Burrow to throw 600, 700 times in a full season. When you get the lead, then your running game becomes more easily achievable, because you're not facing heavy boxes in that sense, because teams are still worried that you're going to score on them with the passing game. So if they get out to early leads because of their passing game, they can then transition to a more balanced type of game plan with a more effective running game. It all comes down to just scoring the ball more, and that is achievable with a dominant passing game. And obviously, you don't expect the offensive line to pass protect perfectly for 50 snaps a game, for 50 pass attempts a game, but you need them to do better than what they did last year, because last year it was just too much.
It was. And the amazing thing is that Joe Burrow, even though it was too much, he was very good. Again, except the deep game, which is going to get better with Jamar Chase, who I wanted to talk about. John, people have been spotting him scooting all over town. All over on Cincinnati. He's scooting is the verb, John. You don't say he's... Yeah. He's a scooter. I actually had a scooter before I got my car. But then actually you'd be surprised. I actually got money back from trading in my scooter for the car. That's how cheap my car was. But yeah, scooting, and he didn't know what Cincinnati was like. You are Mr. Cincinnati. I would love for you to show him that Cincinnati has, it has electricity, has running water, it has everything. He didn't know these things. So
I think he was more surprised about the buildings. I think they recognized. I think he recognized it wasn't exactly an Amish town. Like they had those sort of services there. I think he was just surprised that it wasn't like the rest of Ohio, which is more or less just farmland.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that is good. That I think he's scooting right now, because every time I see a tweet, it's I just saw Jamar Chase. He's scooting. So I like that he loves the city. I hope it grows on him and he grows on us. And I really think that, like you said, I think we're going to be pass happy this year, John. I think we are. I think with the Jamar Chase and the offensive, the powers that we have, the firepower. Maybe CJ Uzama takes a step. Maybe Moss, can do something. And then we have just all these guys out there that are a threat. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. And please leave a 5-star review and subscribe. And for John Sheeran, I'm Dadio Makdouk. We'll see you next time. So long, SVT. Bye.